Well, I hope you guys are having a good Saturday. Today, this Devo concludes our series this week for our devotions that is titled, What is Love? And today's Devo is called titled Love Never Ends. Or the way it's written in my Bible, in the New King James Version, is Love Never Fails. And we're going to be in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 8. Again, it says, Love never fails. But whether there are prophecies, they will fail. Whether there are tongues, they will cease. Whether there is knowledge, it will vanish away. You see, what Paul is emphasizing here at the very end of this passage, is beginning of chapter 13, 1 Corinthians, where he's talking about love. The reason why he says that love never fails is that he compares that or contrasts that to some of the gifts, the spiritual gifts that the church in Corinth, that members in the church of Corinth were valuing and putting on a higher pedestal, so much more than everything else, that they were taking so much more, giving so much more weight. What Paul goes on here to say is that these gifts, whether it be prophecies, tongues, or knowledge, or we think about some of our other spiritual gifts, such as service, helps, preaching, exhorting, tithing. What Paul is saying here is that all of those things fail, unlike love. Because you see, one day, all of us are believers in Christ, are going to be in the new heaven, the new earth, the new Jerusalem with Jesus and God. We're going to see him and experience him face to face. And once we get to that state, all of these other spiritual gifts, they're no longer going to be necessary. And so that's why Paul says here that it's so important that we put love above all of those other gifts. And although those gifts are important, again, what he's saying is that we must not forget love. And that love is the one thing that we should be focusing on above everything else, because that's something that's never going to fail, that's never going to end, unlike all these other spiritual gifts. I like this passage because he sort of ends by emphasizing that love never fails, by stressing how important it is above everything else. And then he also does that at the very beginning of this passage. At the beginning of chapter 13, he says, Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I have become sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, but have not love, it profits me nothing. Wow. That is so powerful and so convicting. What Paul is saying is that if we do all these other things, if we give so much of an emphasis and so much of a weight and importance to all of these other spiritual gifts and aspects of ministry, but if we forget love, which what Paul is essentially saying here is the most important thing, it profits us nothing. And it means that everything else that we have done is in vain if we don't love. And so today, my challenge for you guys, what I hope that you take away from this Devo and our challenge by, is the fact that above everything else in your spiritual ministry, in your spiritual service, whatever your spiritual gifts that God has blessed you with, as important as those are, what today's Devo is a reminder for us that we are to put love. We are to love others, love our fellow brothers and sisters in Christ, and show love, the love of Christ to non-believers, those who haven't put their faith and trust in Christ. We are to put that and show that love and give that love emphasis above everything else, because that love is never going to fail and it's never going to end. Thanks for tuning in today, guys.